Hello everybody, it's Kara from Wild Book Garden, and today I'm here with a spotlight on The Belle of Belgrave Square by Mimi Matthews. I received this arc in exchange for an honest review. This is not going to be a full review, though that will be coming later. Today's just going to be a quick little spotlight talking about the book and some of the elements in it to help you decide if it's something you might want to pick up. At the time of posting this video, this book is already out, and it is the second book in the Belles of London series by Mimi Matthews. In this one, we are following Julia Witchwood as our heroine, and she has really bad social anxiety, which makes navigating the London season pretty miserable, especially since her friends are kind of all out of town, so she's struggling quite a bit. And then about halfway through the book, the synopsis actually kind of makes it sound like this happens near the beginning, but it's actually, we spend quite a while on getting to know Julia and Jasper Blunt, the hero, before she decides that she needs to get away from her family for various reasons that you find out, and she just kind of wants to be left alone. She doesn't want to be pressured into making a horrible marriage, because that's another thing that her parents are threatening her with, and so she basically proposes to Captain Jasper Blunt, and Captain Blunt is kind of widely acknowledged to be bad news, basically. There's like all these rumors about like the terrible things he did in the war, and how he has this like rundown like mansion full of his bastard children and all this, and he basically is not well thought of in society, even though he is also a war hero. So it's kind of this like interesting dynamic, but Julia has interacted with him several times before, and he's never really struck her as the kind of person who would do these things. So she actually likes him more than she expects to, and when she decides that the only way that she's really going to be able to get away from her family and from the prospect of this horrible marriage, she basically proposes to Jasper. So the deal is basically that they're going to get married, and he's gonna like leave her alone to like read as much as she wants, and she won't have to go to parties, and like she'll just like, she's actually really looking forward to being kind of in the middle of nowhere in his estate, because she really doesn't like London, like, or the season or anything. And in return, Jasper will get her dowry, which will help him like fix up his like estate, basically, because it's really falling into disrepair. So they'll both benefit, and that's kind of the arrangement. And so the rest of the book is about like after they get married, what happens then, also some secrets about various things that have happened, and also Julia kind of like becoming more independent. So as I said, the marriage part happens about halfway through, so we do have some setup of these characters and like the situations that kind of lead them to like agreeing to this arrangement. And as for some of the tropes you'll find here, this is kind of a loose interpretation of Beauty and the Beast, which I think is fun. There's also a few novels that Mimi Matthews draws on and uses inspiration from, and I will list those in the description. If you are planning to read those, just know that there might be some references to some spoilers that happen. This is also a great romance for you if you like romance novels where there are like children involved, and I actually feel like the kids were written really well in this book. I've mentioned before how sometimes I feel like they're just used as props for the romance, like for the adults to like have scenes with each other, but they actually felt really well developed here, even though we don't see them in that many scenes. I feel like they felt like real people, like they were like actually a part of the book in their own right, rather than just like thrown in to cause some drama for the adults. This also has some fun gothic vibes, although a lot of those tropes are also subverted, which I think is fun. But Mimi Matthews talks about how this is kind of her love letter to those gothic like stories and like gothic romances and stuff. And actually one of my favorite things about this book is the way that books and reading is so important. That's one of the things that Julia and Jasper like first kind of bond over and talk about, and I really like the way that reading and storytelling is talked about as being so meaningful. Obviously that's something that's going to really resonate with me, so if you like that in books, you might enjoy that here. And then also there is an element of, like I said, Julia kind of becoming more confident, and especially standing up to her family and the way that they treat her, and I found that very satisfying as well. And then also in terms of the romance, you might like Jasper if you like your heroes to be like a little bit on the protective side, but not at all in an alpha way, which we know I don't like alpha males, so he is still kind of like that protectiveness towards Julia, and like some of the descriptions around that, but which I do find refreshing is that he's not like an alpha male, like he's not like super bossy or anything. And then also related to the romance, I think this is an interesting one because I don't really know if you would like how you would categorize it, because there are intimate scenes, but they are not at all explicit. They're like pretty much fade to black, which I think is like kind of an interesting, like where does this fit in terms of like, you know, being a proper romance or a more like mainstream romance that tends to have a lot more explicit scenes. Like I just think this is kind of an interesting one. So all of that hopefully will help you decide if this is the kind of book that you would like to pick up. As I said, this is not my full review or anything. You can expect a spoiler-free review from me in the coming weeks, but this is just my little spotlight on The Belle of Belgrave Square by Mimi Matthews. And as I said, the book is already out, so comment down below, let me know if you think you might be picking this one up. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you soon with another video, and I hope you love the next book you read. Bye!